Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling something that has honestly impacted pretty much every single community across the country over the last few years. We are breaking down the dramatic roller coaster shift in residential housing inventory over the past decade. If you've been casually browsing listing sites or, if you've been deep in the trenches trying to buy a home recently, you already know the market has felt absolutely wild. But today, we're going to look past those feelings and see what the hard data actually shows us about where the market has been and exactly where it's heading.
Okay, let's dive into this. 447,670. I really want that number to sink in for a second. That represents the absolute bottom-out point for active real estate listings back in May of 2021. Imagine the entire nation, the whole shebang, and fewer than 500,000 homes are actively sitting on the market. It was an incredibly tight squeeze that left buyers completely scrambling. But how exactly did we get to that point? And more importantly, how are we digging our way out?
Section 1. The pre-pandemic baseline.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly what the housing market looked like before recent economic volatility. To truly understand the recent squeeze, we really have to establish a chronological starting point and look at what was considered normal before 2020. Based on Realtor.com data mapping out the active listing count every May, you can see that in 2017, 2018, and 2019, we consistently had well over 1.1 million active units available for sale. That was the standard. That was a normal, stable volume of housing options where supply and demand were relatively balanced.
Section 2. The 2021 inventory crash.
Well, things changed abruptly. Looking closely at the steady decline in options leading up to 2021, we see what can really only be described as a complete market evaporation. We went from over 1.18 million homes in May 2019 down to roughly 928,000 in 2020, and then just plummeted to that staggering historic trough of only 447,670 by 2021. In just 2 short years, way more than half of the available housing inventory across the country literally just disappeared.
So tracking this data creates a really distinct, deep, U-shaped journey for the market. We have our normal 2017 pre-pandemic baseline, the inciting crash leading to that historic trough in 2021, and finally a projected rebound stretching out toward 2026.
Section 3. The 4-year rebound.
Now for some good news. After hitting rock bottom, the market began a consistent upward trend. Starting in 2023 with about 582,000 units, we see substantial growth kicking in. By 2024, inventory hit over 787,000. And looking at the projections for 2025 and 2026, the numbers march steadily upward for a 4-year period, finally breaking right back through that critical 1 million unit mark. It's undeniable consistency.
We are actively rebounding toward 1 million units. Current availability is approaching levels not seen since before the recent economic volatility. Basically, the shelves of the housing market are literally being restocked. This substantial growth represents a highly anticipated return to pre-volatility stability.
Section 4. Regional shifts uncovered.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that beneath the surface, we're seeing completely diverging regional fates. I like to think of this as a bit of an insider secret. The data explicitly notes that the Rust Belt is heating up, while the Sun Belt is actually cooling down. So we aren't seeing a perfectly uniform recovery across the map. Sunbelt areas that saw massive, frantic influxes previously are cooling off, meaning inventory is sitting a bit longer. Meanwhile, older, traditionally industrial regions in the Rust Belt are seeing tighter markets and heating up in demand. It's a fascinating rebalancing act for sure.
Section 5. What this means today. All of this naturally prompts the big question. Is it finally a buyer's market? With inventory returning toward that 1 million mark, buyers are simply seeing more options at those weekend open houses, which generally translates to a bit more room to breathe, negotiate, and actually make a careful decision.
The main takeaway here is absolutely crucial. Inventory volume is officially stabilizing. This stabilization trend is an essential tool for potential buyers and industry professionals alike. The market is demonstrably recovering from the great evaporation of 2021.
I want to leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought today. With inventory returning to pre-economic volatility levels, are you positioned to make your move? The data shows the board has been reset. The options are returning. So how will you use this structured knowledge in your own real estate journey? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious, and I'll catch you next time.